It is never a good idea to stalk an ex-girlfriend.
Home on Cuther Road in Sydney. Seconds later, he's told to leave. You can hear the homeowners say, but Rail decides to bang on the door, trying to force his way in.
So we've got this story out of Ohio where a young 22-year-old man named James Rail decided he wanted to, let's just say, try to forcibly enter his ex-girlfriend's father's home. Now, guys, there are three things in this video that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the father's right to self-defense, number one. Number two, we're going to be talking about the neighbor's take on this right here. And number three, we are also going to be talking about this ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend dynamic, which I'm going to go ahead and kind of preface a little bit, then come back to at the end of the video. So make sure you guys stick around. Dude, if your girlfriend breaks up with you, best thing you could do is just simply leave her the hell alone. He obviously did not get this memo. When women break up with a guy, they do not want to be touched. They want to be left alone. If you kind of bother them, you keep calling them or texting them, the only thing it does is just push them away a little bit further. Now, obviously, that right there is a step. Let's just say that's not the same world as somebody actually physically going over to ex-girlfriend's house and actually trying to harass her. We will get on that here shortly. But I need to kind of explain the absence really quick. I had family come up, took a few days off. Very good time. Had fun. Just kind of got my mind cleared, kind of got myself back on track. Now that we've already got that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the story. So this right here, once again, like I said, is just an ex-boyfriend who obviously did not want to let things go. So he shows up to dad's home, and obviously dad and daughter are threatened. So dad, of course, obviously defended his daughter. Here we go.
And doorbell camera captured this violence.
2 days ago, a shooting happened right here at this home in Shelby County, and we just received video of what happened.
This doorbell video shows the moment 22-year-old James Rail walks up the steps to his ex-girlfriend's home on Cuther Road in Sydney. Seconds later, he's told to leave. You can hear the homeowners say, but Rail decides to bang on the door, trying to force his way in.
He's trying the door. Dad. No, don't answer the dad.
The Shelby County Sheriff's Office says this is the moment when Rail broke the front door and began to go inside.
And my dad shot at him.
To immediately be hit with 3 bullets. That 911 call was made by Rail's alleged ex-girlfriend who lives in the home. In that call, you can hear the fear in her voice as the operator asks her to check on Rail.
I don't want to look. Please don't make me.
Now, before we talk about the actual shooting, I want you guys to see this image right here. This is Rail showing up, obviously, with a hooded sweatshirt on that, by the way, has been unzipped. He's wearing, looks like gym shorts. I'm going to take a wild guess and say the fact that he's wearing this outside in the state of Ohio, which, by the way, still gets warm in the summertime. This incident, of course, happened, I think, back in July. It was probably in the upper 70s, lower 80s that day. You got to ask yourself a question, why is he wearing a hooded sweatshirt? Now, it's possible that he's wearing that sweatshirt because, well, he may have been going to the gym, or maybe he was doing some type of athletic activity that day. Either way, though, he doesn't have any actual real constrictions. It looks like he's dressed to actually go do some physical activity. It doesn't matter what he was doing earlier that day, but obviously he's a little bit more fleet of foot, and he doesn't have any actual physical barriers around his body, i.e. wearing tight pants, wearing blue jeans, wearing a suit and tie, or anything like that. So obviously he would be a little bit more, like I said, a little bit more fleet of foot if he wanted to actually break into somebody's home. So the guy is obviously right behind the door of his own house, the father, okay? The daughter, of course, is calling the cops. Now this guy right here, obviously, as you guys saw, is trying to bang his way through the actual door. Now, here's the deal. The father, I'm going to take a wild guess, just give my quick opinion right quick, probably warned this guy on several occasions. Of course, the news media, the local media, is not going to give you every single word that's said in detail from the actual 911 call. My guess is that this guy had been banging on the door for a while. Father said, look, I've got a gun. You need to leave. Boy, you need to leave. I'm going to shoot you. And obviously, guy broke in. We'll get back to that here in a second. Because the neighbor's take on this entire ordeal was just completely like, these people freaking stupid or some crap. Don't worry, we'll get that here in a second. So my guess is that he actually got into the door and the father simply just put him down. He simply protected his daughter and protected his property, which, by the way, was his right to do so by way of the Stand Your Ground law in Ohio. But the neighbor's take on this right here to me is just completely baffling. Let's go ahead and roll this.
So, next door neighbor Jeffrey Herford said he saw everything as well as Rail on the ground.
Just a shallow breathing. I was looking at the guy's hands. He didn't have any gun in his hands or anything.
Herford does not agree with the neighbors or the police report. He says from what he saw, Rail never made it inside.
I don't see that. If he entered the house, why did he shoot through the door?
But with the new stand your ground laws here in the state, Ohioans do not have to back down if they feel threatened on their own property.
Well, I think he had every right.
Which in the 911 call, you can hear the daughter agree with.
Dad, at that rate, there's nothing you could have done. You saved my life.
Now, I spoke to Sheriff James Fry here at the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. He told me that this case will go to a grand jury on Thursday, where he believes it will be tossed out thanks to the new stand your ground laws here in Ohio. In Shelby County.
If he entered the house, why didn't he shoot him through the door? Well, I think if he entered the home, then I don't think there's a way that he could have shot him through the door. Kind of a suggestion that the guy may have actually broke through the door. Now, guys, what I mean by that, obviously you saw the video of the actual door itself. You can bust through a door, opening it, and it still, for the most part, look intact. Also, something else, too, the guy's wearing a hooded sweatshirt, even though it's been unzipped, so he could still conceal something. For all you know, he may have had something like an aspeton, he may have had a tool or something that kind of like comes apart, you know, like something like that there that could have actually kind of like aided and assisted him actually breaking down the door. Obviously, the guy was very, very aggressive and trying to get to his daughter, obviously trying to get to the father. The father, by the way, obviously warned this individual, you need to leave, you need to go, I've got a gun. I'm pretty sure it went a little bit more like that there. Obviously, all the phone call is not going to be actually mentioned. Also, something else too about the girl. When she says she does not want to look at it, you got to think about something really quick. If she don't want to look at the body, there could be two things. Number one, she doesn't want to look at dead people. Number two, it was an ex-boyfriend. It was a guy she obviously spent some time with, probably slept with, etc., etc., etc. There was probably an emotional attachment there, and obviously she wanted to get away from this guy before things got a lot worse. Now, Mel Karen here, in my opinion, I think his tune would obviously change if it had been his daughter who was being stalked. I think what's going on here is that the neighbor himself actually has a bit of an axe to grind against the neighbor. Now, guys, pay attention to these photos here. I took the pictures of these photos, and I wanted to. I took pictures of this. I screenshot them, obviously, so that way you guys can see. There's a pretty good sized distance between the homes. I'd say probably about 100 to 120 feet. Just rough guesstimate, going off my knowledge from playing baseball and being a pitcher. I don't think this guy really and truly saw anything. I think that this Mel Karen is simply just being a Mel Karen. I think he's obviously got an axe to grind. Now, I've heard some takes out there where they have said that this guy was probably pro-gun control. I don't think that's the case. I think this individual himself is also armed as well. And I think he's just being a dumbass in this case. Or like I said before, he's obviously got an axe to grind against the neighbor. You see, a lot of times people who claim that they're in favor of gun control aren't really and truly in favor of gun control. They just don't want you to own a firearm. Trust me, this guy here himself, Hereford, trust me, he's armed as well. I think this right here is an issue that he has with the neighbor, which, by the way, is weird to me how it is that the woman who spoke in that clip, which, by the way, I allowed to run the full time, I find it funny that she had a lot more sense about this entire ordeal, because they keep saying that it's women who want gun control when I personally know that rural women don't want gun control at all. I just find it funny how they kind of like only gave her like 2 seconds to speak. And why is it this woman has got much bigger? Let's just say she's probably got beach ball size lady nuts versus this man here who obviously has no balls at all. Kudos to the father. He obviously did things within the actual scope of the law. Kudos to him for taking care of his daughter, for protecting his daughter, because a lot of men out there, probably this guy here that I've already mentioned, a lot of men would not actually defend their daughter, especially against an ex-boyfriend or an ex-girlfriend, or a rabid one at that. Here's where I'm going to end the video at, guys. Look, breakups suck. Breakups are hard. But if she breaks up with you, it's best just leave her alone. Let me go ahead and throw this out here. If you've ever been inside of a relationship with a girl and you've ever been broken up with her, if she's ever came back to you, chances are she probably came back to you because you left her alone and you allowed her time to breathe. She doesn't want to receive any calls, texts, emails, social media posts, don't hit like on anything, stuff of that nature there. But there's also something else too that I think is not being mentioned or not being actually looked at in this case. This guy right here chose to go to the home and actually bang on the door after he had been told to leave, which is pretty obvious what happened, because people don't just start banging on the doors unless they are actually, they in their mind feel. Now, like I said before, I agree with the father 100%. I would have put this animal down too, because he's coming here to try to get my daughter. But the thing is this right here, regardless of what started this entire ordeal, you shouldn't be banging on doors. And also something else too, you shouldn't be trying to harass and try to run down your ex-girlfriend in the first place. You just should not be doing that. Like I said, if she breaks up with you, she's done with you. Leave her the hell alone. Go ahead and move on with your life. Also something else too, not too many women have ever gone back to a guy if said guy is constantly aggravating them after the relationship ends. Now, here's something else too, and I want to go ahead and kind of make this last point, okay? This said individual, 22-year-old guy, James Real, probably had some issues. Obviously, he didn't take the breakup well. And like I said, it's not uncommon for men not to take breakups well. However, men that are typically of sound body and mind don't try to harass their ex-girlfriend. Now, I want you to think about something really quick. Let's say that he did this, and let's say he did not get through. Let's say that friggin' cops were called and a restraining order was put on this guy. What if this guy, a year or two from now, gets another girlfriend and the same exact incident occurs? And let's just say that he does the exact same thing, goes to her house, and let's say he actually gets inside the home and actually goes crazy on the girl and possibly kills her. This father did not only save his daughter's life, but this same father also saved another man's daughter's life in the future, because this type of activity typically has a pattern and typically does not just simply go away. Some people are actually born with conditions that, quite frankly, would, let's just say, kind of point them in the direction of being the stalker type, which is obviously what we saw here. So kudos to the father. The neighbor's a dumbass. The female neighbor, she obviously had the right idea. And this guy here obviously was a bit of a loon, the guy who he put down, the 22-year-old. Guys, John Claymore here. If you like the content, hit the like button. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Let's make the channel grow. Leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.
I'm not like everybody else.